Welcome to the Dogish Podcast, the podcast dedicated to dog parents and the topics, events, and personalities impacting their lives. My name's Jasen Arias, co-founder of Forever USA, and this is my co-host. And this has been a question that I've been actually dying and I've been holding on to for quite some time, Miss Sylvia.
Oh, my goodness.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Well, listen, let's be real. That's actually my maiden name.
Right.
But phonetically. So Wesolowski.
Wesolowski?
Mm-hmm.
Is that Polish?
It sure is.
Very good.
Yeah.
So we have Sylvia Wesolowski, and your married last name is?
Raffield. Yeah. But professionally, I still go by Wes.
Just Wes?
Just Wes.
Just Sylvia Wes?
That's me.
Easy. Okay. And you are the owner of Dog Up in This Bitch.
There you go.
Dog training, right?
Absolutely.
What other kind of stuff do you do?
Oh my gosh. Well, I do this kind of stuff. What else do I do? I like macrame. No, I'm just kidding. I don't macrame. Aside from just always constantly having a dog up in this bitch, there's not really much else going on in my life other than a flurry of animals running around at any given time. I have two taking over my house right now. But let's see. I do a lot of brand ambassador work. So I work as a brand ambassador for rover.com, Doggo training app, which is a global training app. I do work for
so you've got a lot of different stuff on.
Listen, I just make it happen. You know, I really like getting out there. You and I met because of a brand collaboration that I was doing with Dog Owners Outdoor Gear.
Well, let's not jump too far ahead because we're gonna get to that. Okay.
Oh, I'm gonna freeze there. Okay.
Are you good now?
You're the boss. I'm just here.
All right. So today, that's actually what we're going to break down. We're going to break down all of the things about you and about me and what excites us about this new venture that we've taken together.
Cool. I'm very excited. I'm super happy to be doing this.
So let's maybe kind of break down some of those topics. Like we first met a little over a year ago when Forever was on the Rescue Heroes road tour, and we came down and we visited you in Los Angeles. And in
your big Forever bus.
Yeah, and I'll never forget the moment when it was one of those times when you connect with somebody on a very short amount of time, but then like Christy was actually like all weepy-eyed and sad when we had to leave you. So,
yeah, same.
So then, not too long ago, kind of the idea of launching a podcast popped up, and I knew that I had to have you as the partner in that. So I reached out to you.
Gosh.
And I spun the idea of wanting to really get into the nitty gritty of some of the topics that are affecting dog parents, and not just the light fluffy stuff, but everything from, the dark ones are going to be euthanasia and animal rescues. And the more positive ones, like how do we, correctly train our dogs? Because these are like, we're dog photographers. There's so much that is out there in the animal community that a lot of misinformation and wrong information, whether it comes to dog training or is it just even leashes or all these different stuff.
Yeah.
That I think the public would like to hear about, especially dog moms and dog dads.
For sure. I mean, the thing that I find totally fascinating about this world, which blew my brain hole open when I heard it, is this is like a $75 billion industry, the dog industry. Mm-hmm. Here in the United States, globally, it's about 100 billion. So we here in the US love our dogs. But with that being said, that's a lot of products, pet care, professionals, advertising. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff going on in $75 billion of spending. So I guess what I love about the focus of this podcast is that we're really just going to be having conversations with different people, each other. I mean, you have so much to bring. I have over a decade in this industry working on all different levels of dogness, if you will. So I think it's just going to be really fascinating to kind of have lots of different opinions going on and really kind of get to the bottom of what we think, at least what I think is going to be best. I'm a dog mom too. So some of these questions are for me. Like, I want to know what is the best dog food? Is raw all of that it's cracked up to be, you know, like what does early socialization, you know, vaccination look like? And yeah, I think it's going to be really helpful. I think it's going to be really fun. Hopefully we're entertaining. I don't know. Everyone thinks, go ahead.
At the worst case, that's why we're going to have some other great guests too.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school, so I'm trying to break that barrier. My daughter, Brooklyn, was also a motivation for me to go back to school. Every day after work, went straight to school, and it paid off.
At age 26, Kareem finished his high school diploma.
I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at fenixmedia.us.
Yeah, we have one of those Nespressos and it's got the frother.
Ooh.
It's super neat.
Future investments. Hashtag goals, I think.
Apparently, our next will be a coffee podcast. But not.
Coffee and dogs, they go together.
Right. In the morning.
There's all those shirts that say drink coffee, play with dogs, something.
Or there could be.
Yeah, we should make one of those.
We can do that. We can absolutely do that.
Drink coffee, play with dogs, listen to Dogish. Oh,
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Okay. Hit me with some more questions. I'm so ready now that I have my latte.
All right. So we just spent a little bit of time talking about what's going to make this show so amazing. And now what I'd love to do is learn a little bit about you. We know, like I said, we met each other on the road tour, and we got to hang out for a little bit then. And we've talked this and then, or intermittently in between lately. But what we haven't really got to do is spend very much time really kind of getting to know each other. Like, I know you're awesome and you have all of these great connections and you've done all of these amazing things. And it seems like every single time I talk to you, you're off on a new adventure or getting married or going somewhere super cool. So, so like, I'd love to learn a little bit more about who Sylvia Wess is. Like, you've been doing this for a decade now, right?
Yeah. Been doing this for a decade.
How did you get started?
Oh man, actually in college. So I just, my sister's really good friend lived around the corner from my school. I came to LA because I went to the American Musical and Dramatics Academy on a full ride scholarship.
The what? The
American Musical and Dramatics Academy.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a singer, dancer, actor in that order. Yeah. And
so you can sing?
Yeah, I can. I was professionally trained for like years and years and years. Yeah. So I competed and went all over the country for nationals, and I was a ballerina. So, you know, I was an artist kid. And then I got into musicals, and that was my passion. So I went to college for musical theater. But my sister's best friend lived around the corner from my college. And instead of living in the dorms, I would go dog house sit for her. And, and then I graduated, and she like gave my number to somebody who had me like dog walk for them. So that was really my first foray.
So this kind of started out as a side hustle for you.
Yeah. Like never in a million years was I was like, I'm going to be a crazy dog lady when I grow up, you know, like 18-year-old Sylvia was like, this is cool, but like, I'm going to be an actor. Anyways, so cut to, I like ended up getting this job because, you know, you got to pay bills, and LA is expensive, y'all, an expensive city. So I got a sales job, was very exciting in Beverly Hills. That's actually where I met my husband.
So you guys have known each other for a while.
2010 is when we met.
Cool.
Yeah. And that was not for me. I was really depressed. Sitting in a cubicle. Yeah. I mean, I was just like in a cubicle in some office as like an artist. I know I grew up in the country. So I grew up in wine country in Temecula on like a 2-acre ranch. Okay. So I had like goats, and my mom's favorite animal is goats. So we had goats and geese and chickens and ducks. And I think at one point I had accumulated 13 cats on the property just because I was a stray collector. And we had 5 dogs, 2 bunnies.
But at least it was it sounds like it's a farm, not an apartment.
Yeah. No. It was big. We had some room. And my mom, for some reason, has a weird eye for turtles. We'd be like driving down the road, and she'd be like, like slamming on the brakes and get out because there's a turtle crossing the road. There's
turtles in Temecula?
Not anymore, but we had 3 that she road rescued.
Okay. Where were these turtles coming from?
Yeah, this is the mystery. Like, we're just like driving down Glen Oaks Road at freaking 55 miles per hour because that's the speed limit. And this woman would see a turtle in the middle of a 2-lane street. I'm like, so needless to say, I get my animal lover from my mom, I think. But anyway, so I'm working the sales job. It sucks. I'm super depressed. I think I got up to 250 pounds, just totally not happy with my life. I left, and I just, the one saving grace I had at that point was my little rescue dog. that I had rescued a year prior, and my little Tallulah bean. And it took me like 3 months after that to really kind of get back on my feet and figure out what I wanted to do with my life. At that point, I was 22. What I went to college for was not what I wanted to do. And I was just like, I don't know, my dad was very much, and still is, it's 78, my God, he's still an entrepreneur. So I just kind of was like, whatever, we'll figure it out. And I knew I wanted to work with animals, especially after Tallulah. I knew I wanted to work with rescues. And also,
let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
This was something that was new for me. When you had Tallulah in your life, were you aware of the rescue community at the time, or was she just a dog to you?
She's just a dog to me.
Yeah.
I rescued because I knew, well, actually, my husband, who was just my friend at the time, was like, there's this great shop on Melrose called Barkin' Bitches. You should totally rescue a dog. And I was like, rescue? What's that? And he was like, come on down to the store. So we went, and Barkin' Bitches was this really cool place. They unfortunately had to close last year, but earlier this year. And they had all the rescue dogs just out. Mm-hmm. It was like a pet shop, but it was all rescue. So you could like go in the store and just hang out with 20 dogs.
That's cool.
Yeah. And and she found me, and it was Liv, and I took her home with me. And then, so after some depressive television binge watching, I stumbled upon, what was that show? I think it was called Shorty's Rescue.
Okay.
Do you remember that show? It was about the little people and the pit bulls.
I don't.
Okay. So it was a show, and I binge watched it, and I was like, I should work at a rescue. So I volunteered I sent in some volunteer applications. A rescue got back to me. I showed up there. I'm 23 to volunteer with all these kids who were 12 doing their community service hours. And the owner looks at me, and she's like, why are you here? And I was like, well, I'm kind of aimless, and I think I'd like to run a rescue one day, and I just want to see what it's like. And she's like, well, I need help, so you're hired. And I was like, oh, okay. And that was easy. Yeah. And then, I think, universal timing works like that. And then, then I worked at a rescue for 2 years. And that was, we cared for 200 animals. It was nuts. Wow. It's a big facility. It was crazy. It was crazy. And then the rest is history.
Well, how did you get into training? Okay, so you went from side gig, dog watching and walking, to working at a rescue, and now you own Dog Up in This Bitch dog training. How long have you been doing that?
Oh man, let's see. I got certified officially in 2016. That was when my first certification came through. I just got another certification as a dog trainer.
Did you do that? Were you going, did you get into dog training knowing that you needed to get certified, or?
Yeah, I actually, first I got into pet sitting. So when
is there certifications for that?
No, I mean, there probably should be. Let's be real. I was 25 years old, just caring for people's animals. I don't know, but with no experience other than just I love dogs and yeah. I mean, at that point, I luckily had experience because I worked in the shelter for 2 years, so I had lots of medication experience. I was administering vaccines. I was dressing wounds. I was identifying, sick fecal. It was a crazy whirlwind of an education. And I left there and I got a job working as a dog walker. I was walking 17 homes per day. Wow. Just to make ends meet. I was not making any money, but I loved it. And then I was like, how do I promote myself? And that's when I decided, I should become a dog trainer. And a lot of what I was reading before I went and got certified was just how many dogs are actually in our shelter systems because of behavioral issues. I think it's something like 90% of the dogs that get returned to a shelter is because of something behavioral. And so for me, as a rescue lover and a rescue advocate, I was like, how do I get underneath this problem? You know, because I worked on the other side, and I remember getting the calls from the people who are like, my dog just keeps peeing in my house and I just can't do it anymore. Like, I need to bring them in, and you guys don't kill animals. And it was just, you know, it was overwhelming to get those kinds of calls and really be powerless. Other than being able to take the dog in and rehome it somewhere. And also, this is 2012. Dog training was not as prevalent as it is now. Like now, I think the only celebrity dog trainer was Cesar Millan. That was the only thing that was going on back then. You know, now you've got like all these YouTube sensations and like dog trainers who are out there like really pushing science and, you know, healthy dog training. And it's becoming a trend for people to want to train their dogs, where it just wasn't, you know, it's people didn't go, oh, I should get a trainer. They'd be like, oh, this is just a bad dog. We should just return it.
Right.
You know, I got a lemon.
There's no lemons.
There's no lemons, you know, by that logic, they're all lemons, you know.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
Right.
Lemon.
Okay. So we just got done kind of doing the past of Miss Sylvia West here and learning how she went from dog walker and watcher and moving from there into a rescue, and then got started with training. And you kind of mentioned that it was to give you a little bit more exposure in the dog walking business at the time. But one of the things that was making you feel powerless was when you found out how many people were dropping off their dogs at shelters just because they had behavioral issues. And that kind of really inspired you to get deeper into the dog training, from what it sounded like.
Yeah, totally. And also just like being a dog walker and being a pet sitter and just experiencing so many dogs, so many dogs. You know, just to give you an example, because really becoming a full-time trainer is something that's happened to me this year. I worked as a trainer and a pet sitter for a few years. So last year for Christmas, I had 11 dogs that I was caring for. Wow. Yeah. So lots of dogs in and out.
So what does that mean? When you say that you're caring for 11 dogs, what does that mean?
I mean, like I was boarding 11 dogs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were feeding them, training them, all social interactions,
all making sure everybody's healthy, making sure everybody's getting walks, making sure everybody's just loved because they don't have their parents. Right. And then, you know, I'm also an overachiever. So like everybody wrote a letter to Santa Paws and we did pictures with their letters to Santa Paws. we'll need to upload one as like auxiliary info for this podcast. And then I would you know, all the while I'm like managing a social media account. So I'm like doing a giveaway and like, it's just nuts. I don't know. I think I'm crazy, Jason. But
so that was actually one of the things that was fascinating and also slightly a bit confusing when we got to meet each other on the tour last year. Was I couldn't quite figure out what it was that you did do. Like I couldn't put my thumb on what that was, because you were doing stuff with Rover, which I still don't totally understand. You were doing stuff with Doog. You had your own brand with Dog Up in This Bitch, and you were helping us, and you were actually excited to be getting involved with what we were doing on the tour, and you were a advocate for rescues. Like you were like all over the place.
But that's the thing, though. It's all on brand. It's all on brand. You know what I mean?
Sure.
My brand is that I'm a mess. No, I'm just kidding. No. So when I left the rescue, I actually already had set up my Rover account. So I've been on rover.com since 2013.
So what is Rover? What's Rover?
Rover.com is like a pet sitting platform where you can basically like advertise. It's kind of like a TaskRabbit or or something like that, but specifically for pet sitting. And I worked with them for a really long time. I had like my own pet sitting business on the side that I was doing through Rover. I was also employed by a company doing dog walking and pet sitting. I'm like the ultimate independent contractor. That's what I did for years. This is my first year really like having my own business. I worked as an independent contractor. I would have like 10 1099s come through in January. I must have been my accountant's worst nightmare. She was like, what is this? What's happening? It just like piecemeal it all together. No, but Rover kind of tapped me, I think it was in 2016, to do some spokesperson work for them. And I shot like a national commercial for NBC for Clear the Shelters Day for them. And then that's where that relationship started. So now I work as like an ambassador / spokesperson on the sitter side for Rover. Doog was a brand collaboration that I do. So I work as like their event liaison and US ambassador.
So Doog is based out of Australia. Right? Yep.
Yeah.
And they focus mostly on dog toys and
gear. Yeah. I found them.
Dog Owners Outdoor Gear is what
Dog Owners Outdoor Gear. Yeah. And so I found them when I was a dog walker because their dog walking belt is literally the best dog. I still own 5 of them, but I used to have to import them from Australia because they didn't sell them here. So I'd like import their gear and then then we connected, and I don't know how I do the things I do. Like, I don't even know why I'm sitting here with you today, Jason, but I get passionate about things and I follow through, and I get passionate about people and I just follow my gut. And now I'm sitting here on the heels of a blossoming dog training business that's just growing exponentially. And I don't even know. To say that I don't know how it happened is me being completely genuine. I think I just put my head down and picked a path and rolled with it. And after I graduated from my dog training school, so I did want to get certified because I didn't want to just be another like quote unquote dog trainer.
So that'll be one of the things that's unique between our trades. Like photography, there's you can get certifications, but you don't need a certification to actually be a professional photographer. But how does that relate in the dog training community? Are there a lot of people that are uncertified out there?
Yeah, you don't need
which we'll have a whole topic just on this, just on dog training.
Yeah. I mean, the long and short of it is it's a completely unregulated industry. That's why there's so many like polarizing views, whether you stand on one side of the aisle or the other, like if you have a dog and you've worked with a dog trainer who uses compulsion training. I personally am a positive reinforcement dog trainer. So there's a lot of different avenues to go down with it. But it's unregulated at the end of the day. There's no like licensing. I remember I was a realtor for a half a minute. Oh my God. I forgot about that. I was a licensed realtor when I was 19. I had my real estate license, but like that industry is regulated. Yeah. I had to take a test with the state board to get licensed, but you don't have to do that as a dog trainer. So it's very dangerous. Anybody can go out on the street and be like, you know what? I'm great with dogs. I trained my dog. Look at how good my dog is, and say they're a dog trainer. I was training dogs, obviously, because I had so many dogs around me. And when you're walking 17 dogs a day and doing pack hikes with up to 7, 10, 11 dogs, there's some training going on, like there's definitely like order being kept and information being communicated. So when that was happening for me and I was doing that, I was like, you know what? I need to know what I'm talking about. Like I can't just sit here and, watch episodes or videos online and then call myself a dog trainer. So I went to, one second. I went to, speaking of dog training, my board and trainer is trying to make an escape from the hallway. He's like trying to crawl over the baby gate. And dog up in this bitch, ladies and gentlemen. No, but I knew I wanted to be certified. So I went to Animal Behavioral College which was a 1-year course. I had to read so much. I got certified in CPR. I had to do an externship, so I had to actually go work with a mentor trainer and do all that stuff. And then I got my certification, and that's when I really started advertising myself as a dog trainer.
Cool. Very, very cool. It's one last question about this.
Yeah.
Where did you get the name Dog Up in This Bitch?
Oh, okay. This is actually really good. So my Instagram and my brand used to just be Dog Walker Life because I was a dog walker primarily. Yeah. That's what I did. And I started like foraying into dog training, and I was like, oh yeah, I don't know that really fits anymore. And I one time was driving in my car because I drove so much as a dog walker.
Sure.
It's a lot of driving. And I was behind this car that had a hilarious bumper sticker that said "Baby Up in This Bitch." And I was like, I need one of those that says dog. And so it didn't exist. So I made it. And it was like a little baby on board.
Yeah, like the road construction.
Yeah,
signs.
like the little baby on board signs, but it just said "Dog Up in This Bitch." And I sold them on my Instagram. And then I was like, wait a second. This is my brand. Like literally at any given time, you would not like, I used to have a joke that my car had a 2-dog minimum to start. Like it wouldn't turn on if there wasn't at least two, if there wasn't at least 2 dogs in my car. So yeah. So I feel like it was
inspired by a baby on board.
By a baby on board.
Right.
By a baby on board sign. Yeah, and it's accurate because I didn't know, as you know, how to explain in a word, in a phrase, what it is that I do. So, it's kind of like this podcast name that we came up with, Dogish. Right. It's like, how do we explain everything that we're going to talk about?
Yeah, totally.
It's, it's Dogish. So yeah. Yeah, that's everything that I touch in my life has a dog up in it. So
that's something dog related.
Dog related.
Love it. Love it. Okay, let's take another quick break and then we will come back again.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard, so you don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
You just need FeedThePig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at FeedThePig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Now more than ever, family matters, and Surratt Law Practice has your family in mind. Kimberly Surratt and her team have been helping maintain healthy families through their holistic approach to adoption and surrogacy, child custody, estate planning, and more for over 13 years. Your family law concerns are in caring hands with Surratt Law. Schedule your private consultation with a compassionate Surratt Law Practice team member today by calling 775-636-8200 or visiting lawyersforfamilies.com. Surratt Law, where family matters.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com, brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Hey everyone, let's all stop what we're doing and take a moment. You see, every moment can be kind of special. But they can be loud moments, goofy moments, dorky moments, it doesn't matter. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Explore more great shows at fenixmedia.us.
Okay, so we just got done learning about Dog Up in This Bitch and Sylvia's journey from being a dog watcher and dog sitter and dog walker, and how she was a real estate agent for a brief amount of time. And
no dog up in that bitch at that time.
An actor, a singer, a rescue bleeding heart worker, like all of these things, and saw a baby on board and decided she wanted to do Dog Up in This Bitch. And I think that catches up to where we're at now.
I'm pretty sure that's like the most accurate summation of my mind I've ever heard in my life. Like, I feel like if you were to like crack open my brain, you'd be like, oh, there's a lot of shit in here.
Right.
And you just kind of, you'd be like, okay, let's see. Bleeding heart, rescue advocate. Oh, baby on board sign. Oh, Dog Up in This Bitch. Perfect.
There you go.
Whiz bang.
And then we came together just from so like in 2019, Forever USA decided it wanted to go on a road tour photographing the stories of how dogs, particularly rescue dogs, impacted people's lives across the United States, and looking for those stories.
I'm trying to think about how exactly.
I'm trying to figure. Like, how did you find out about it? Because I know we're advertising to the entire United States, but how did we connect?
Okay, I remember now. So in all my outreaches, because, you know, when I was first becoming a social media maven, which I'm not by any means, I have like 1,000 followers. But anyways, I that never stopped me. I was doing outreach into different brands, and I actually reached out to the Forever brand, and I was like, hey guys, do you want to collaborate with me? And nothing.
We didn't get
And then you started the Rescue Heroes Road Tour, and you were like, we'd love to collaborate. And at that point, I was already working with Duke. So I was like, I have just the thing. Let me put you in touch with this company that I represent, and let's see if we can't get you some Duke gear to take all across the nation.
Right. Yeah.
And that's how that all went down. And then you guys were like, we're coming to LA. And I was like, I'm meeting you in LA. And we met at a restaurant in North Hollywood to keep it kosher, because truly we were internet strangers, and you never meet an internet stranger like in a private area. So we were like, let's be in public in case either one of us is secretly a murderer.
Right.
And you were there with your family, so I can't even imagine how terrified you were. You're like, there's this crazy woman. She says, dog up in this bitch. I don't know. She may roll up with like 8 giant like mastiffs and eat my children, kidnap us.
Mary had been talking to you quite a bit at that point. She was super excited. So I wasn't too worried. And what was the restaurant we went to?
Some dog.
It was dog something.
Dog something. Well, they had cute dog wallpaper that Christy and I took selfies in front of.
That's right. And you should have, that would have been, if you could have seen that was by far one of the more difficult places. So we had this 28-foot Mini Winnie Class C motorhome that we're driving around. And that day we had...
Through LA.
That by far the worst roads. The only time that the whole motorhome almost came off the ground was on the freeways driving through Los Angeles.
It's so bad.
It was bad. Like that was the only time that I got scared that things were like flying in the back of the motorhome up and down. And
you're like, why doesn't this thing have seat belts?
You're supposed to wear them. And while that was bad, maneuvering through the streets, like trying to find parking, when you're 28 feet long in a town that is meant for large bicycles, was we would sit there and we would stalk. I remember this place in particular. We sat and we stalked waiting for somebody to move because we had one parking spot, but we needed the car in front of us to move so that we weren't parked in a fire lane and didn't have to walk 3 miles to the restaurant with the kids and the dogs and the nanny and like all of that kind of stuff.
And the gear and the gifts.
Right. And at the same exact time, we still wanted to have like the photo ops, with the restaurant and with you. And that was an adventure. Los Angeles. I remember there was a whole nother time when we wanted to go to the beach over there and there was nowhere to park, like nowhere. So it was just like stop on a busy road, kick everybody out with the dogs. And then hopefully when I was making a loop around and around and around, one of the next trips coming back, Christy and the kids and the dogs were in a good enough spot to jump back into the RV so that we could just drive off. It was nuts.
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much is an accurate summation of parking in Los Angeles. I do that in my Nissan.
Same experience.
Yeah. Yeah, kick all the dogs out. They hike themselves. I loop around. They jump back in the car. Yeah, definitely. So we met. And I mean, to this point, we're still total strangers. No, I'm just kidding. We know each other. We're like soul friends. I feel like we've known each other for a really long time. But I guess what inspired you? First of all, let's rewind to this motorhome experience. Why? What inspired you to pack your 2 children who are, how old are your kids again?
They're 10 and 7 now.
So 9 and 6.
Right. Yep.
Into a 20-foot RV
28
with your
feet.
20. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Those extra 8 feet matter.
You would be surprised in an RV. Yeah. That's a whole bedroom.
That's a whole bedroom. So let me just paint this picture for everybody. So we got you, we've got your wife, who Christy is not a small personality. She's lovely. We've got the nanny.
Like Christy is not small. I was like, she's about as small as you get.
She's tiny, but personality is on fleek. We've got the nanny / assistant.
Yep.
Who, God save her, because I don't know what she was thinking. Your 2 dogs.
Yes. Brownie and Max.
Yep. Which Brownie is not small by any means. No. Max is a little smaller.
Yeah, Max is a big pug, and Brownie
big pug.
Yeah, and Brownie is like 35, 40 pound.
Not small. There's your 8 feet right there. Right out the window.
Right.
So there's 7 of you in the RV going around the whole country. So explain this to me. What inspired this and what made you think it was a good idea?
It was Christy's idea, actually. And
of course it was.
Yeah. And we were trying to dream up. So Forever Reno started in Reno, obviously, and it was just a small project photographing rescue dogs and their owners in the Reno area. And that quickly expanded. We had other people that were like, how can we get involved? What can we do? We had the book that was coming out. And that was in 2017. So 2017 into 2018. And by the beginning of 2018, we figured we needed to do something bigger with this. So we launched Forever USA in June of 2018 and got through that entire year. And in the beginning of 2019, we really wanted to figure out how could we embrace the USA? Like, what do we need to do to get on the map of not just being a small local project, but something that was going to go around the United States. And Christy we said, what if we just hopped in the RV and traveled the United States photographing dogs? And so we spent some time dreaming that up and figuring out, like, how were we going to get that to be something viral, give us the best opportunity. What could we do to get on news stations around the United States, all of that kind of stuff. And it really just went back to the core message of photographing and more so sharing the stories of how rescue dogs in particular have impacted and changed people's lives, and sharing those stories. Because one of the things that we had quickly found from talking to people and photographing people in the past was that most of the time, and this is still true today, if you ask somebody to tell me their story about their rescue dog, a lot of people, they just jump directly to the bad parts of the story. Like, I found this dog and it was left in a field and it was malnourished and somebody had beat it and somebody had wrapped duct tape around the leg, like these horrific stories that we heard. But the problem with that was that as they're sharing that, those are the stories that are sticking with people who aren't familiar with rescues and how amazing and how loving they are. And it almost like taints their idea of what a rescue is. That's why when you ask people about shelters or sanctuaries or all these things, they have such a negative connotation because they think that they're just full of a bunch of abused, broken animals. And so we wanted to flip it on its head. So we really wanted to get back to, like, share your stories with us on how this dog or your dogs have changed your lives and the positive impact that they've made there, and photographing them. And so our books, when you flip through them and look at them, I don't think anybody ever really thinks rescues when they see them, right? It's because we've separated that, but we're trying to reconnect the word rescue and getting rid of that stigma. And we just figured going around the United States to do that was the best way. And we were looking at expanding to other photography studios. So we had studios in Sacramento and in Reno, but we also had a large connection of photographers that we knew from, Christy and I have been in the photography industry for 12 years now, something like that. And so we just drove and visited our friends, told them about the projects. And then at each of the cities that we visited, we would connect with different rescues, and we were trying to raise money to give away to those rescues as well.
So I want to like pause and then rewind a little bit, because you and Christy.
So let's pause and rewind after this next little break.
After the next little break? Yep. I agree.
And then we've got like 9 more minutes that we can talk about it.
Dear John, I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is serious, and I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to when you checked on me? I don't want to leave, but remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart and don't let it quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range today. For help keeping yours at a healthy range, text PRESSURE to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take 1.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to sell all your belongings and live in a commune.
These dungarees belong to all of us now, Tom.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman!
You just need FeedThePig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at FeedThePig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopRex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Listen live at fenixmedia.us.
Okay, so we were just learning about the Rescued Heroes Road Tour.
Wait, now hold on. I can do this part.
Okay, you do.
So we were just chatting with Jasen now. Yep. I was just chatting with Jasen about a little bit more about how we met and what inspired him and his wife to take off in an RV across the country for the Rescued Heroes Road Tour to help change the stigma about rescue dogs and get people to connect the idea and the word rescue with something much more loving and positive, which I just think is beautiful. But what I wanted to touch on, because we were getting to, is a little bit about you and Christy and your photography business. The fact that you've been photographers for 12 years. I mean, there's so much stuff you could photograph, Jasen. What brought you to dogs? What inspired you to photograph dogs? And then more specifically, rescue dogs? Like, where does your Bleeding Heart Rescue advocate come into play in all this?
So Christy and I met in 2009, and she was living on the East Coast at the time. And I razzled and dazzled and wooed her until she decided to move to the West Coast, and we were living in Phoenix. And that's where we started family and business. And our primary focus at the time was wedding photography. So we were traveling all over the world, photographing these amazing couples in these amazing locations. And it was a lot of fun. But what we quickly realized and learned was once you have a family, it becomes much more difficult to travel and a little bit cost prohibitive, depending on what you're charging for weddings and the time off and all that stuff. So then we transitioned into being more of a portrait studio, and we loved photographing our families and focusing on that. But we had an opportunity to open up a little bit of a pop-up shop at a local hotel here in town. And we quickly realized when we were going to put up some of our artwork and photography is that people love pictures, but they don't really care about pictures of other people's families. Nobody was going to stop at a little gallery to stare at other people's kids or, but they would for other people's animals. Like we have that connection and we'll stop in and we'll take a look there. But we still wanted to figure out, like, it was a community room. So how are we going to make sure that we were giving back to the community? Because that's what it was going to be about. And so that's where we wanted to photograph animals in our community and then give back to rescues and nonprofits through the sales of the books that we were doing here. And that really kind of just unfolded and I had asked you the question earlier, if when you rescued your first dog, did you recognize it as a rescue? Because I didn't. So my first dog that I had, like as an adult on my own, her name was Nina. And when I adopted her, she was from Craigslist, but not a puppy. It was like somebody that there was a dog that they were trying to get rid of. And she was a Jack Russell Beagle mix. And she was just the sweetest thing. She hated everybody else, but she thought that I was just the best on the planet. But I never saw her as a rescue. At the time I was just looking for somebody to come share the house with me. And so So fast forward to this, when all of a sudden I realized that she was a rescue, and rescues are, I don't want to say more loving, because I think all dogs are loving, but they often seem to have a different level of maybe appreciation, or I don't know, maybe we read into that as dog parents. But as we were photographing the dogs and their families, I remember the day almost specifically. One of our clients came in and they said, "Oh, we got to run home and drop off our dogs. And then we got to run a bunch of errands." And my first inclination was like, if you want to leave the dogs here, you guys can totally leave them here and go run your errands. And it instantly triggered through my brain that I would never in a million years tell parents that they could leave their kids at our studio ever. So, but you can leave the dogs here all day.
Thank God for that.
And so that's when I knew that we were just on the right track with something that we loved. You know, it was, we couldn't do, like, it would seem like if we're a dog photography studio that we should have like a dog that's hanging out at the studio with us all the time, but it doesn't work because other people bringing in their dogs and pets and stuff. But we were always anxious to have that vibe and energy around. And so it just kind of grew from there. And oddly enough, Christy didn't grow up in a, she wasn't like in an anti-dog family. So there, you've got anti-dog families, you've got the people that sit in the middle, and then you've got dog passionate families. Yeah. I grew up in a dog passionate family. My dad actually owned a doggy daycare until just recently.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. He was one of the biggest here in Reno, and Christy didn't have that. But now she's got just an absolute bleeding heart for rescues and for dogs. And my kids in particular, Piven, another similar story. We were watching, there's a movie called Rampage with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in it. And it's a throwback to an old video game. And there was a scene in particular where there's a giant wolf, like it's a 50-foot tall wolf or something like that. And it's eating and killing and destroying people and murdering. It's like, it's this bad wolf. And
oh my gosh.
Right. And so all these helicopters and all of like the army's coming in and they're attacking this wolf. And I look over and Piven is crying. I was like, what is wrong? Look, they're shooting that dog, Dad. Like, man, he could care less about the people getting eaten by the wolf. He just wanted to make sure that nobody was getting messed with the wolf.
Terrorizing. Right. Yeah, and he's, I love that.
So that what it's done for our kids and what it's done for our family to really involve dogs and animals and that compassion, I just don't think it can be understated.
No, and I think, yeah, totally. And I think that's so valid in that they really do teach us how to love, how to be compassionate. They are so unconditional.
Yep.
You know, we don't deserve dogs, to be honest.
I totally agree.
Yeah. Well, I love that. I love your story. I think we're definitely, just for everyone's sake, going to need to get Christy on one of these episodes with us.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, we've got to talk to her and listen to her go on and sob about some doggos too, for sure.
She has that unique perspective that that's not the family that she grew up in.
Totally.
And then because she's the one that's doing a lot of the in-person connecting, photographing the families. She photographed me and my doggos. Yep. Absolutely.
And made me cry like a baby.
Right. And so that was really the kind of the inspiration behind this. Like, there's just so many for the Dogish podcast. There's so many things, whether it's the photography or whether it's the training. Like, that's what's brought you and I together.
Yeah.
Right. It's what's brought my family together. One of the things that we've recognized doing dog photography is that I don't think that we always give people the platform to be the dog parents that they feel in their hearts. Right? Like we do baby showers and we do, birthday parties and we do all these things for kids and families. And our culture says that dogs and animals and they're all part of our family, but we don't necessarily give them that space. And so we really embrace that in the photography. And I really want to give dog moms and dog dads that space here with this podcast to be parents.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think that this is just going to be an amazing and safe space, no matter what your opinion is or what side you're coming from. You know, we're just here to help us all have open dialogue so that you can glean the information that you need in order to just up your game as a pet parent. You know, I know for my husband and I, like, our dogs are our kids. We don't have kids, you know, and I know that that's the same for a lot of people out there, especially in like, you know, high metropolitan areas where it's not always financially feasible to have kids. So I think that
because animals are so affordable.
Yeah. Listen, I don't have to pay for it to go to college.
That's true.
And I mean, I'm in a different position though, because I also don't have to invest in training because I can do it myself, but all that kind of stuff. And I think like, you know, we are going to talk dollars and cents too. Like, how much does it really cost? And maybe if you're out there and you love dogs and you're a dog lover and you don't think you have it in you to be a dog parent, we might just be here to inspire you and help you realize your dream of doing that, because everybody deserves the love of a dog. I truly believe that.
I agree. I totally agree. I agree. All right. So let's wrap this up. Let me move to my wrap up notes here.
Wrap up notes.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously we want to thank everybody for joining us on this first one. I felt like it went pretty good. Like, how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I talked about myself a lot. So initial apologies on that if you don't find my story fascinating, but we cannot wait to share so many other stories, so many other people's stories. But for our first episode, I feel like you're getting to know us as hosts, and we hope that you want to spend some time with us because we're excited.
I mean, outside of, like, we only had to do one retake at the very beginning for the intro.
That was it. I mean, he botched it. I mean, it was
kind
bad.
of rough.
And then he got mad at me because I made him redo it. Anyways.
Not that bad. So anything that we kind of talked about, I don't know if we talked about any particular products or brands or anything that would be relevant to dog parents out there. But if we did, they will be on our show notes, thedogishpodcast.com. Make sure to jump over and check out our social media. Our Instagram. We don't have like TikTok or anything like that yet. Instagram will probably be our main one. We do have a Facebook page, which will populate there.
And it's the Dogish 1G.
Yep. 1G. In fact, I want to make sure that we do a giveaway for each one. So maybe if we hit, do you think 100 is too low or too high? If we get 100 subscribers.
Oh man, I think that's maybe a little high. That's steep.
You're crazy.
I'm just kidding. 100's good. 100.
So like, I've got this, check out my dog. I've got a dog dad mug here. So that'll be in the links, but we'll give away a dog dad mug.
Or dog mom.
Dog mom. We've got dog moms too.
We're not discriminating. Sorry for Jason's lack of foresight.
This is my mug that I've got today. So we'll give one of those away. If we can get to
a new one, not Jason's mug, a clean one.
When we get really big, people will probably prefer to have this mug. Just saying.
No. It is. No.
So if we can get to 100 followers on Instagram, we'll give away one of those mugs. Sound good?
Yeah.
And then reach out to us too. If there's a topic or a personality or something that you'd love for us to go over.
Touch on, talk about, dissect. We want to know what you want to hear us ramble on about.
And we're going to try and get these out every week. This is our first. We just barely snuck it in by the end of the year. And they are scheduled to come out every Tuesday. So make sure you put that on the subscribe button so that you know when that comes out. But until next time, I've got a joke for you. I told you at the beginning of the show that I had a joke for you. So maybe you've heard this one, maybe not. But are you ready for my joke?
Well, lay it on us.
What do you call a dog that doesn't bark?
What do you call it?
A hush puppy.
Oh, no.
I didn't say they were
Ladies
gonna be
and
good
gentlemen, my co-host Jason, and it's like a dad dog joke. So a dog dad joke.
There you go.
We're gonna start coining these. We're gonna hashtag dog dad jokes.
Yeah. So if you have a good one, message it to me and I'll drop that one on our next show.
Yeah, let us know.
All right.
Okay.
That's all we got. Till next time. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.